Hi all, another instructive and entertaining game from Jack Rudd was played in round 3, and this game looks remarkably easy in a way, but you have to see the backdrop to this game, which was a game last year in the King's Engine, the very same line, main line King's Engine, but with a very different result. And the key difference from a very high level generalistic point of view is the king being able to escape or not. So in this game, Jack actually started with e4, but we transposed into the King's Engine defence, the old classic main line. So castles, knight c6, and now knight e1, bishop e3, and white is asking for the classic King's Engine attack, come and get me. So f5, f3, so black does the old pawn storm. Now with g5, all these moves identical so far to this game Summerskull versus Jones last year in the British Championship. So absolutely identical here. 13 a4 was played in both games, and now in Simon Williams played actually here rook f6. He didn't bother with playing anything else yet, so this is still identical to what Garwin Jones played. Now after a5 we have a variation. So a5. In this game black actually spent time playing a6. The key thing though is this king being able to escape. How can it escape? You'd actually have to get these pieces out of the way. So there's 3 pieces to get out of the way if you ever want your king escaping like this, or maybe even like this. So this will be the escape plan. So how to arrange this? Well, it helps to have a few extra moves to be able to arrange it. So a6 helps in that respect rather than facing rook h6. Okay, so one of the pieces now gotten out of the way, knight d3, and rook h6 happens now. But there's a little bit more time now. Get the queen out of the way, queen c2, and while getting these pieces out of the way, also they're useful for c5, which is the thematic pawn break, undermining the pawn chain at its base. Hopefully you have some understanding of pawn chains and undermining that. If you get the base of the pawn chain, the ripple effect, often everything will collapse. That's the theory. So queen e8. And this is emulating that crude but effective maneuver seen in the year before, where Summerskull got defeated, but his king was stuck on h1 in that game. Here now, Jack's made the evacuation plans much better. The king's going to make a run for it. Rook fc1. So now the king is free to escape, not like that, but rather like this, or maybe even Kf1 e2 if this was out of the way. So knight f6. Another cheeky little move, h3. And one of the things which stunned me about this game last year when I saw it was it didn't seem that thematic for black to have a rook stuck on h6 with his h-pawn blocked, because then you don't have the lovely thematic h5 g4 kind of plan. And it seems the downside of this tactical base strategy of not using the pawn chain like that is shown up a little by this game, with white playing h3 but having the clear escape plan for his king. So queen h5, and now a run is made for it. King f1, inviting bishop h3. But it does seem to me, and when I was looking at this live, I was thinking, what is the compensation here? G takes, queen takes, white's a piece up. Yes, black's got these dangerous a dangerous space advantage on the king side, but the pawn's not going anywhere, is it? King d2, the king's escaped, and he doesn't really he's not really attracted with g takes, doubling his pawns. So Simon Williams plays g3, and I just don't see the compensation. I don't know. Do you see the compensation in this position? Black looks to be a piece down, still facing a vicious queenside attack, with the king kind of cozily with bodyguards around it at the moment. So there's no problem there. e4 seems safe enough. There's no sacks on e4. It seems, you know, the tension's been reduced to a large extent. And what is the rook doing on h6? I have no idea. This doesn't look thematic. So c6 was played. Okay, maybe trying to get to the white king via the queen side. It looks as though the resources aren't there to support it. So queen b3. And here is where the dangerous tactician side of Jack Rudd is unveiled, because actually he starts increasing the scope of his pieces now. c5, lovely thematic, don't worry about the d5 pawn. C takes d6, and white's just accelerating his advantage now. Knight takes d5, knight takes, e takes. Okay, he's doubled his pawns, but he's getting a lot more tactical pressure going on now. Knight c5. It seems black's position is collapsing. It doesn't matter that the king is on the d file. There's not enough resources to attack it. So knight e4. And in fact, after bishop b6 now, we see that white can now actually use this h file. He's just connected his rooks. So rook h1 is becoming possible in some lines. Knight c6. Now rook h1 here. So the rooks come off, and the black king is starting to be exposed. So knight d8, d6 check, king h8. Now bishop d3. Things are starting to be pointed now on h7 and coordinated. It's looking really, really unpleasant. And there's a lovely little tactic played by Jack Rudd here. I wonder if you can spot it if I give you 5 seconds. Okay. Knight f6, because if takes now, there's check, king moves, check, winning the queen. So it's all downhill, and this d pawn is a menace. Knight e4. The d pawn is now also supported by this bishop, you know, conveniently targeting d8. So it's a total strategic disaster for black. Material down. The rook is also coming in now via h4. So if he needed to, you know, keep an eye on that g pawn, he's also got g4 as a way of doing that. But he's also getting to the black king now as well on that side. So knight c5, threatening like mate in one. So knight g5. Now a lovely exchange sack which goes for the d pawn promotion idea. So knight takes b7, and it's just all over. The king is at leisure coming to f2, so the bishop is not interrupted in helping promote the pawn there. But first, the move bishop e4. So next move will be like king f2. So bishop d8, king f2, and here Simon Williams, he had enough. It looks like a really strangely easy game, but you need to see what happened last year, which sort of maybe, you know, gave the white player of the King's Engine a bit of a fright to see what happened. So I don't know if rook h6 would have changed the picture considerably instead of this a6 move to emulate last year's game. You know, maybe there's still time for an evacuation plan, although I'm not 100% sure. You know, knight d3, queen c2, rook fc1, so the king can come out. That's the basic plan. So a6 gave white a bit more time to do that, and encouraging like the bishop sack, which doesn't seem to be that effective here. So let's go on to last year's game swiftly after this. I might have to go into 2 videos to show you. So it's identical, you know, start moves. But anyway, nice finishing off here with the d pawn. But I'm going to grab the PGN of Summerscale Jones from last year now. Okay. Okay, so last year what happened, which was totally different, is the white king wasn't given enough evacuation possibility, and it let black actually at leisure arrange the most effective way of attacking the white king in that fixed target location. So we see here the first like 13 moves identical to the Rudd game. So bishop e3, all old classical stuff, but with this new twist. Instead of, you know, this h5 g4 business, this seemingly very rapid rook f6. So a5 played here, but now instead of a6 there's the immediate rook h6, and it's here that Summerskull reckoned that his king was going to be safe enough on h1 because of, you know, things like bishop g1 protecting h2. But there was a rude awakening about this defensive strategy, which kind of shows, you know, maybe, you know, the evacuation strategy is more effective. So queen e8, rook a3, maybe, you know, preparing to defend along the third rank for there's ever a g4 to be able to take potentially. So bishop g1, is the white king cozy enough? Well, actually, you know, it seems that Garwin Jones found, you know, a phenomenal tactical idea. Then after, in this position, knight g3 check takes. It looks as though, you know, what's the big deal here? You know, g takes, the bishop will move, and black's just blocked